Hello, Madame and Monsieur. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live Q&A for Adam Rehmeier's Dinner in America. I'm presuming that there are many of you here just buzzing in the afterglow of this spectacularly great film. I am so bummed out that we could not do this as a proper live event with everybody screaming together. It's really what it was designed to be. And yeah, we have lots of brilliant people from the film here. So let me introduce one by one. We have writer-director Adam Rehmeier. We have Kyle Gallner, who played Simon. We have Patty Emily Skeggs. We have co-producer Ross Putman. And we have cinematographer Jean-Philippe Bernier, Montreal's own Jean-Philippe Bernier. Hello, everyone. This is such a weird way to do anything. But I'm really, really glad to be with y'all. So, where do we even begin with a film like this? I guess Lincoln, Nebraska, punk scene in the 90s. You want to go from there, Adam?
I'm unmuted finally. All right. What's that?
You never muted.
Sorry, I had a technical thing. Where did JP?
Understandable. Apocalypse and technical things are really the signatures of 2020.
I know. Now I'm good. I can hear everybody, and everybody can hear me. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Can everyone hear each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone still has JP, you have a strange you're not on camera.
Video is
I don't know why.
You gotta hit the video.
Wait for it. There we go.
Oh, so
Let that mic set up go to waste.
Where's your cats? I want you to.
Oh, you know that. Of course, you have chorus Rexes too.
They're sleeping.
I want you
Mine
to
is
be
crazy.
petting
He's
them
20 and he's half deaf. So I actually have him. I have my door closed because otherwise he'll walk into the room really quietly and then go ah, get attention, and it'll freak people out during these situations. So whenever I'm in Zoom things, he's in the other room and I have my door closed. But that's right. You've seen photos of Vinny, Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. So Adam, let's talk a bit about 90s punk scene, Lincoln, Nebraska, the origins of Dinner in America.
Yeah, I mean, and flash forward maybe 20 years after that, I'm back in Nebraska over the winter holidays, and it's like 2006. And you know, like when the snow plows go and they throw the sand and the rocks and shit in the street. So this whole film, I think I told it the last time maybe, but this film, it really came out of the sound that like combat boots made in the street in the gutter, that rhythm. And this whole thing just kind of became this rhythmical thing. Now that sound is like what inspired it, just the sound of walking like that. But Simon's walking was very important in the film, like just, and I think what ended up happening with John Swihart and just the score for the film, very, very important. All of that, like the rhythmical aspect of it, like it's front to back. I think there's maybe like 69, 70 cues in it. Some of them are very small and some of them are very buried and tiny. And obviously some are very big and bold. But it's a very rhythmical film. And I think a lot of that goes back to the 90s, like 4-tracking in my basement and 4-tracking with my friends and that kind of like aesthetic. I feel that, and that's everything about this film. And I think when we talk a little bit about music and stuff for it, it's all very important, and just keeping that aesthetic. It's something that we talked about up front, like across the board in this film, and really tried to just front to back, first to last frame. It's like it's trapped in there, that important.
Have you ever done pharmaceutical, chemical, what's the term? Not research, volunteer work? It's not volunteer,
clinical trial work.
Gigs, that's the word I was looking for. Pharmaceutical gigs. Have you ever done pharmaceutical gigs?
I wanted to because it was always the allure of that, like, quick cash at Christmas. You could make like $1,500 if you did this thing. And my best friend and I were always like,
a lot of my friends used to do it.
Yeah, should we sign up for that? Should we do that? And like, I always wanted to, but I always chickened out. There was always something like, and you always had to have a clean system going in. So
you wouldn't have qualified at the time.
Fuck yourself there,
Fair enough. So Emily, Kyle, where did you go to find your characters, and how much of these characters were based on parts of you?
I think for both of us, I could speak for both of us. I think these characters are extremely personal. For me, I mean, I think there's there was a time in my life when I definitely felt a lot like Patty, and I had some really cool people in my life who like helped me like celebrate who I was and figure out what I was good at, but I don't think Patty really had that. And so it was really interesting for me to go back into that time in my life and like explore what it felt like to like be so downtrodden and have that not have that support, and to like fall back in love with those parts of myself that I cut out because I thought that they weren't helpful for me, and like that society in general didn't like that kind of thing. Like, I think something that makes Patty so beautiful is that she's so present and naive and open to whoever's in front of her with no judgment. Just she has a beautiful curiosity that I think a lot of people don't value. And so just being able to find that again and honor that in a way and celebrate that, and to be able to play a character that's so out there, but at the end of the day, the message is we all deserve dignity, we all deserve love, and we all deserve to feel value. It was so exciting for me as an actor to be able to do that. And then to work with Kyle and Adam, who are such incredible artists and really set the bar really high. And I learned so much from working with them. It was a dream.
That's beautiful.
Oh, love you, Skeggs.
Love you.
Well, you bring so much to the film.
Oh, thank you. It's really kind.
I mean, you've seen it. I mean, my God.
She has a picture.
Such a beautiful piece. Kyle, on your end?
Yeah. I think Simon is just how I've felt inside for a long time. Like growing up, I was like I was like a skate rat. I listened to punk and hardcore music. So like I was kind of an aggressive kid. I definitely wasn't as like over the top as Simon, but it was like, I was getting in trouble. We were stealing beer from people's garages at like 15 years old and it was like doing all sorts of stuff. And, so there's a part of Simon that was already there, but to be able to kind of have the script and just, and push it, you know what I mean? And push it further and kind of get back in touch with that kind of feeling you had when you were young, like I did. I grew up in like a small town. I grew up, in a suburb outside of Philadelphia. And it was kind of that thing where it was like, you are rebelling all the time. You're kind of pushing the boundaries, seeing what you can do and kind of pushing back against what's being put on you. Luckily my parents were supportive and cool. So I didn't have the parents Simon had, but there's a lot of things that I was just familiar with, but a lot of other things, like where Adam was talking about, like Simon's walk is important. The rhythm of things is important. There's a lot of physicality in this film between Emily and playing Patty and Simon that I think brings these things to life. Like, the way Simon eats, he eats like he's a wild animal. You know what I mean? Like he hunched over his food, or like the way he walks.
It's body language, right?
Yeah, it's hyper aggressive. Yeah, everything is hyper aggressive about Simon. So like getting to that point, and then even stuff not as little, it was really a big deal, was, when I got there, one of the first things I wanted to do is like, I need to cut my hair. Because the way people look at you when you have a mohawk is different than the way they look at you. You know what I mean? Like people stereotype, so to get those kind of eyes on you as you're living your life, it just kind of, it's that constant reminder all the time where you're able to sort of you're never able to get away from Simon. The whole time we shot, he was always there and alive. And I think that was really important. It was really a collective thing. Like me and Emily would cook dinners together, and we were really close, and we hung out all the time and talked about, the movies, and Adam was super collaborative. And I'm rambling now, but like,
not at all. No, it's all great.
But no, I mean, it was one of the most lived in experiences I've had, because we got to record the music. We got to do all of these things. We got to be in the studio. I performed at a punk show with Disco Assault. You know what I mean? Like we literally eat, sleep, and like, it was 24/7 on this thing. It was super immersive. I don't know. It was an incredibly special experience.
And what?
And part of that, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it was
So
just an amazing
excited.
experience. Go.
No,
I want to hear what
I'm
you have to say.
piggybacking. A part of that is because we had 2 weeks of rehearsal before we
Yes,
even shot the
Oh,
thing,
that's
which
really
was
nice.
Which never happens.
unprecedented. And that is because Adam really pushed for it, and Ross and the rest of the producing team saw how important that was to the piece, that we established this common language together and really build the world and the characters so specifically, in order to properly tell the story, so that it didn't come off as just like, you know, these cartoon characters in this cartoon America, that it was very real and personal and really reflected how a lot of people feel.
Really, really real and personal characters in an actual cartoon America.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
But no, I think if we didn't have those 2 weeks, we would have probably spent the first 2 weeks of shooting figuring it out.
Yeah, just getting into that kind of a group.
And
there's such a familiarity.
Producers love it when you find it on the day. They love that.
Yeah. So we were able to walk into this thing. Pretty set up, you know, and I already had a relationship with JP. Like, it was a very, like, I don't know, it was family, man. It was really kind of a one of a kind experience.
Ross and I were already in a relationship for 6 years on this movie.
It's been a long
Sorry.
Ross and I were dating like for 6 years.
I'm happily married, but this movie was an abusive
Adam
relationship for
Sorry?
6 years. Abusive relationship with Adam Rehmeier for 6 years, on both sides. Both sides.
Cracking the whip, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Just screaming at you all day.
You liked it, Ross.
Look,
It's just
Who
what I
doesn't
deserve.
like it?
what you guys were just talking about before. One of the things that really makes the film percolate, I think, is that it captures a genuine creative process in the songwriting, and that's something that's very uncommon in film. Do you want to talk a bit about getting to that?
I can do that real quick. And it was also too. It's only like an eighth of a page in the script, so it's very one of those questions where everybody asks you, "Oh, what's the song gonna be?" You know, and you're like, "I don't know. I can't tell you until we have the vessel," which you know is gonna be Emily and Kyle, because he's going to have to play it. So and Kyle he has some rudimentary skills in that.
I've started playing guitar recently, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going.
Did you not play when you shot?
No, I didn't play anything.
Well, that part was like, and that was part, like, I'm going to say, you know, to Ross, like giving us the time to do that at the front end, because, you know, if we had tried to do it halfway through the film, I mean, it just would have been a disaster. The days are long. Mitch, you know how it is. Like, the days are long and you're so burnt, you know, from a week so we had time at the beginning. And what was great was, on day one, we did, like, Kyle and Emily flew in. The second day, we did all of the punk stuff with Kyle. He did all of the 4 songs that we had from Disco Assault, and the one that was the title track, Dinner in America. We did all of those, like the studio versions. And then the next week, he came back and laid in the live versions, because we actually did. He practiced in the car and everything, and he got to know the everything so well that we came back and he did those live. So those performances that you see at the show, those are live takes that he did, like off of, we picked a sloppier take that Disco Assault had. We picked like one down from where we ended up going, like with the studio one. And then and he came and laid those like off, so we had variations on the songs, and so we could do the live, or we could, you know, crush them and put them through a boombox or on a stereo or whatever Patty was listening to. And then the other song we did that the day after Kyle's first one, and we were in the studio, me, Emily, and Kyle, and we just kind of riffed it out. And Emily had this notebook full of stuff that she had written as Patty, and we cherry picked the lyrics and we settled on some really great ones. Some that I'm like, I just love where we landed on that. I think it worked out really well, and it turns out to be such a memorable, fun moment. And that, I've said this before, but that really gave us the high that we were going to go to in the film. And so we could just reverse engineer the whole thing up to that point. And that was like, we now had an emotional, like, reference point that everybody was on board with, and we could all cruise to that part of the film. And it turned out that we did that on the second week. We shot that sequence on the second week, at the end of the second week, And it was like smooth sailing after that, because we had like a rockier week, and then we kind of got and had this thing, and the crew was like really on board after that moment. It was like night and day, you know?
I want to add something because Adam won't do it for himself. And the song he's talking about is Watermelon in the movie, which if there was a crowd here, I'd hope you'd all be cheering because it's a beautiful song that Adam and Emily wrote. Emily wrote the lyrics and sang that song, and Adam played every instrument you hear on that song. That is completely constructed by the two of those psychos. And
Really?
I remember when Adam played the demo for us that they had
Yes.
recorded on acoustic, and I sat there, it was like 2 a.m. I lived in Adam's house while we were making the movie, and he played the demo, and I thought I was going to cry. I was like, this is it. This is unbelievable. And then they outdid themselves with the official version. And I just wanted everyone to know that these two maniacs created that together.
I remember there was some maniac talk about, well, you know, this could just be acoustic. It doesn't need to go like, I remember some maniac murmurings early on
because the acoustic demo was so good. Anyways.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I knew that you wrote a lot of the music. I didn't realize you actually played every fucking instrument. That's fantastic.
Just on that song.
And also editing the film as well. I mean, it's you lazy prick. How can you just sit back and no? That's so cool. That's fantastic, man.
It was a lot of fun. That was like, for me, that at that point I knew what this movie was going, like I knew how to get to that
Sure.
point. And that's the point. That's the point that you're like, it's sort of like, it really is the kind of climax of the movie. And then there's kind of like this, like, you know, obviously, well, everyone here has seen it, but, you know, Simon gets arrested and everything. And then there's kind of a jump in time, you know, a little bit, but it was like a really, it was such an important, like, you know, bullet point to get to. And I was just so happy that we were all so happy with how it turned out, and we had this plan then from that point to move forward towards.
Oh, dude, I got to sit in and watch the tennis match and listen to the Patty poetry and all that stuff, and you talking about like, oh, I know where to go. It was this moment of sitting there and being like, Jesus Christ, like, okay, so this is Patty. Holy shit. Like, it was kind of like this, like, whoa, okay. So this is where we're going. But it was like super informative for me to just hear those things. And then like, I kind of relaxed. It was like, this is what we're making and where we're going. And it did help me like understand who Patty was more. You know what I mean? Like, just for me personally on like a performer level, like getting to listen to Emily and everything she wrote out and everything, it really just kind of brought Patty alive for me in that, for the first time in that moment of like being able to sit back and just watch that and watch you guys do that was really cool.
I felt like once you got the haircut, then I was on board with you. It really was about the haircut with Kyle and like kind of his physicality thing. And for Emily, it really was the song, because it was like that sort of pure transmission that she gives. It let us, like I said, it let us reverse engineer what the script had, you know, done. It just let us reverse engineer everything and lead us up to that moment in the film.
Totally.
Speaking of punk, I'm a big Jesus Lizard fan. David Yao. What was it like working with David Yao?
The nicest guy alive.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. I mean, I remember my early phone conversation with David, and just like, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like in the production office, sitting on the floor. I think the financing had fallen out for like the third time. So I'm rolling around on the floor. Had another project and some bad shit on that, and rolling around on the floor. And then I get a call. It's fucking David Yao on the phone. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is one of my heroes here. This is cool. You know, this is a lot of fun. So
to be fair, we sent him the script and he really loved it, and then he called Adam out of the blue. So yeah,
that's cool.
Was like, do you think
I didn't know that
has a mustache? I was like, He does. He does.
David-
have a mustache.
David Yao still randomly hits me and Skeggs up to go get tacos and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
We have to go
What a
get
G.
tacos.
I love it.
I
so
know,
much.
and then the world fell apart. We weren't able to get tacos to David before everything
Went to
fell
his
apart.
house. He's got a backyard setup with backyard screen and he nice video projector, and he cranked the film. When he watched it at home in his backyard.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool. Now, one really funny thing about the movie, when you think of likely toxic work environments, the pet store is not one that would immediately come to mind. And yet it makes perfect sense that Emily's character would be working in like a pet store from hell when we first meet her.
Right.
What made you come to that?
I don't know. I think maybe watching Rocky too much as a kid, I don't know. Like Adrian in the pet store, I don't know. Like there's something about cleaning animal shit all day. Like it's like it was the constant thing. I think there was things that we cut out of I cut like 30 minutes or so from my first pass to this pass. There's stuff about the animals doing stuff. There's like constant shit. Patty's like, it's all about like her dirty smock and everything, So
I almost
That makes
killed
sense.
JP. I almost took
Yeah.
JP's leg off that day.
What?
There's
In the pet store scene?
yeah,
What
the
happens with
scene-
the pet?
oh shit, I
the
forgot.
scene,
Tell
the
that.
scene where we
Let
like go
JP
into the
tell that
pet
shit.
store.
Let
Yeah,
JP tell that
JP, please elaborate on how I almost took your leg off.
I mean, Kyle being Kyle and being like character and crazy like he is, when he throw that, I don't know, like this accessory kind of shelf,
Display
it just threw
stand,
it
yeah.
straight
Yeah,
to my
display.
shin. So yeah, it just threw it at my shin, and I was like,
It drew blood. It fully cut in.
yeah, I mean, a little bit, like a little bit of blood.
It was
But the thing is, like,
fucking
I was
hard.
still in.
As
I didn't
cinematographer,
move.
you were operating as well, right?
Yeah. So I didn't move. I
Didn't-
was still in, and you just break character out of nowhere. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like,
It was
Just go with it.
Still in, man. It's like still in. It's like,
JP, dude, JP didn't budge. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's a testament to JP. JP,
Dude,
I feel like you
like a
shoot
rock.
like it's a sports game. You're
Yeah.
just in it. You're in it, and you always catch the action.
Have you guys seen Turbo Kid?
I actually haven't seen Turbo Kid yet. I know, JP.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
sorry.
test.
I'm fucking
man.
sorry, man.
Camera
I'm
off.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Exactly,
I'm sorry.
man.
I'm sorry. I'm a bad friend. But I watched JP die inside a little bit when I hit him in the shin. I was just like, oh my God, no.
How far into production was that?
Week
I
2,
think so.
week 3.
no, second week. And also at the same time, there was a weird step. This is part of getting older, Mitch. I don't know what the fuck happened. I just did some
I
weird
forgot
step
about
thing.
this.
And
I
it,
did
like,
too.
fucking threw my leg out. Like completely.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's one of the best parts of getting older. The unheroic random injuries that we have.
I'm
Like
like,
you stretch and you yawn at the same time. It's like, ah! You know, it's just, aging is very humbling.
I
But
have
so you
all
fucked yourself up.
I have all these really great photos of like, remember the box that Casper made for me? So
Yes, our key grip made a box for Adam to sit on at all times.
and
Yeah.
Adam only, because I like to be up where the action is, like right on the my place I like to be is right on the film plane. I got to be right on the film plane, so got to be there.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I also
And
almost
director's tents are ridiculous. I think that's a really bad approach to storytelling, to directing.
In case the AC gets sniped, then I'm just gonna pull. I'm just gonna like grab the whip and go. It's gonna do it. So
I love taking pictures of other people sitting in the Adam only chair while Adam wasn't around.
That become a thing.
But yeah, it was pretty punk.
pretty fun.
So, Jean-Philippe, do you want to talk in general about your approach to the visual side of the film?
I mean, I feel like Adam and me was kind of like, at first when I talked with Adam, he was like a big like horror fan and an old school fan, as I am as well. And when we started talking, we kind of realized that we kind of like also cheesy 80s movies and colorful stuff. I mean, like Perfects and other stuff like that. So I think
it's amazing.
so
Yeah, one of my
because of that, we kind of explored a little bit more. But I think our big love was for both of us, but for me was the kind of the early 90s Sundance kind of like indie American movie that I always love, like the early Todd Solondz, like Welcome to the Dollhouse is a big I think is a big reference for me for that movie. And also a lot of early John Waters, but also like late John Waters that's a little bit more playful and colorful.
Much more
It's
color-centric, the later John
yeah,
Waters.
it's trash, but at the same time, it's a little bit more accessible. So I think this is.
But yet, neither of those filmmakers ever shoot scope. You shot 235.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that choice?
I mean, I feel like it's just because I've been a fan of anamorphic and that old school vibe and the way it brings textures to the story. And I feel like the 235, you can get like nice close up, but like a two-shot close, like you can get both of them in the same frame while being close to them. And I feel that was extremely important. And Adam wanted, I mean, they're so important. Their relationship together is so important. I feel like it was like the aspect ratio 235 was made for that movie for sure.
We did things too, like, you know, slowly integrate them in the frame together, you know, where it's like always shot, reverse shot, or like a wide, but she's trailing him or something like that. And then towards the end, they're more even and like sharing the frame more, like as their relationship changes. So the basement, you know, obviously is like a very key moment in the film. And that feels very intimate to me. I love everything. I think our production designer, who's not here, Francesca, that's where, like, we had so many problems with trying to figure out where we were going to do this basement thing. I mean, it was like fucking one thing. It's like one thing after another with this film, but like that like trying to figure out where we were going to do the basement scene. And then, sorry, I got COVID because I live in America.
I hope you're kidding.
No, I'm kidding. Totally.
Okay, because we were talking when you were taking your family out just as the COVID thing was getting bad.
Right.
Like that would be the worst punchline if you just casually dropped that.
Yeah, I've got COVID now. No, there was like kind of a miracle that happened with the basement in like a 24-hour fucking period. Really insane. So a lot of that, you know, but just like back to you know, shooting anamorphic, and that scene was that was a very intimate, key, pivotal, you know, scene in the film, and JP just really knocked it out of the park. It's probably my favorite scene.
I like the dinner scenes.
There's just I don't mean to be multitasking. There's just a weird thing here. Emily's muted, and I'm not sure how to do an unmute. I'm completely
Everyone sell your Zoom stock. Everyone.
The thing is, because on here, I don't think I'm technically the host. Jesus Christ. JF, are you listening? Are you here? I see. I mean, oh, Emily's muted. We can't unmute her.
Okay, I'll do that.
I've been texting. I've been writing that in the chat thing, screaming in all caps. Freaking the fuck out.
You're not used to
it. You can't take Patty's voice away. No. Let's embarrass Emily. She's unmuted.
You have a voice again.
Listen, this Zoom thing is so weird, and I feel so bad. The etiquette is so strange. I was gulping down water. I didn't want America and Canada to hear me gulping water down my gullet while JP was talking. Beautiful words.
You've been sucking down water this whole time.
So you muted yourself and then it froze into mute?
Yeah, take it up with Zoom. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. It's
my apologies.
No, it's not your fault at all. Fuck technology. Fuck this apocalypse. But
fuck China,
fuck China.
Fuck America.
Fuck
America.
Fuck China.
I'm muted. I was like,
fuck America.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, totally.
You really want to work in the back of some shithole buffet?
Kyle, when you said Jesus Christ earlier, I just wanted you to say Jesus fucking Christ, because that's your character's like line in this movie. You say it like 100 times.
Jesus Christ, lady, it's a check.
So beautiful.
Jesus Christ a lot.
Can we talk about the cigarettes? And fucking Kyle like now has emphasis.
Please do.
Cigarettes, please.
Yeah, if you listen, like I kind of, well, right now, because there's a lot of smoke in I'm not very far from these fires out here.
Oh,
so I'm a little like allergy, whatever, but like my voice in that, I kind of have a deep voice already, but between smoking all those cigarettes and screaming for the punk recording stuff, like my voice is like 3 octaves, like deep. I mean, it's like super low. There's one line in there where it's like, oh God, is it that there's no fucking way? they would play a show with a band like the Alliance,
Yeah,
and that's like with the band like the that's like super deep. Like I hear that one, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I must have been chain smoking that day.
Fucking blasting
There's, like,
those
not a
cigs,
scene.
dude.
There's like almost not a single. I think I smoke in 90% of this movie.
We
It's crazy.
cut so many too. It was like every scene, dude. It was
You
like every
wouldn't
scene, but we cut
believe
some
how
because
many.
you like just couldn't do it.
They were
anymore.
herbal.
Yeah, they were over, but it got to the point where I was like,
Worse, man.
Adam, can we just like maybe move on?
No, okay, there was one scene that's cut. There's one scene that's cut where he's fucking putting the cigarette out on his tongue. He did it like 12 times.
And you didn't use it.
A lit cigarette out on the
And
tongue.
poor
I think
props.
I think I did it in like 2 scenes, but it didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And poor props with the cigarette.
They're like
Poor
running
poor
low.
Angie. Poor Angie.
Poor Angie with
There's a whole
the
dance
continuity.
you've never seen, Mitch. There's a dance sequence you've never seen too. There's an amazing, crazy.
Oh, poor Angie when I tore that
Extended
fucking bathroom
features.
up. Yeah, I tore that bathroom up, and she
That
was
seems like a
not
good
happy.
segue to each person telling us like the best and worst experience you had making this film.
Oh, Ross, let's hear that. I want to hear Ross.
Yeah, I'm
I'll keep it
curious,
as
but-
quick as I can. I read this script in December 2013, and we made the movie. We premiered the movie at Sundance in January 2020. So that is 6 years and a month from the day that I read the script. So it was an insane journey where no one, just truthfully, I'm going to say this to all of Canada. I assume all of Canada is watching. No one believed in this movie except maybe me and a few of my producing partner, Dave Hunter. And then eventually, thankfully, Ben Stiller and his company, Red Hour, loved it as well. And they lent their support and their name to it to help us build it because they just believed in the project and believed in Adam. But it was 6 years of pain, to be honest with you. It was, I love Adam in the depths of my heart as I got to know him and became friends with him. And I just didn't understand why people didn't see what this movie was, what this movie could be, what this beautiful story of outsiders. And the thing that I'll just say, this is not like a story in particular, but I'd say for Adam, we always joked, we started trying to make this when the president was Obama, and we actually made it and released it when the president was Trump. And there's something so perfect about the fact that we didn't make it when Obama was president. Because this movie is all about the grotesquerie and the kind of judgment and the decay of a part of this country that he has weaponized because he's got them on his side. He said, look at your cities, they're collapsing. Look at your world, it's decaying. And that's sort of what this movie is, And
the seeds were Bush too, I think. The seeds for this film are like Bush too. It's back that far.
So for me, we made it at the right time, but it was pure pain. And then the last thing I'll say is that a month and a half before we started shooting, we lost a bunch of our financing. And we had a big come to Jesus moment at Adam's house where we decided to fucking make it anyways. And I'm just glad I still don't have.
Ben Stiller was fully on board. The financing.
So Ben is not a financier. He's a producer, right? So Ben, Ben is a wealthy actor. He's a lovely guy, but he's on this project to support it.
Right.
You need to go find a financier.
I thought that he facilitated funding by being attached to it like that.
We all brought the funding of the project, but then one of our investors fell out. So we had to figure out what to do, and we held the movie together because this movie was like a real family affair of a lot of people coming together to make it. And we just decided, fuck it, let's go anyways. And all I'll say is that I'm just really glad I don't have $40,000 of the budget on my credit card anymore. So it worked out.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, Ross.
Love you, Ross.
Look, we got to the point where if we gave up then, we never would have made it. And I'm so glad we didn't do that. I'm so glad we made it instead because it's really something. I've produced a dozen films and there's not one that I'm prouder of than this film. So thank you all for being part of it. Every single person here.
Love you, Ross.
Thank you. Love you too.
Emily?
Love you, Ross, man.
I'm gonna cry.
Emily, what was yours?
Oh.
My favorite was just working with all of these goofballs, and the worst was having to stop making it and leave.
Yeah. No, for real. I know. I feel the same way. Very much the same way. Yeah, it's hard to pick like a bad day. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Kyle's rental car got stolen.
My rental car
got stolen.
My rental car got stolen, and then my other rental car, they lost the key. Somebody lost the keys for. I lost 2 rental cars while I was there. Yeah, no, I mean it's like making movies is hard. Like, you know, Ross talking about it, and that's you know, and actors come in like way later. Like we don't even, you know what I mean? That it's like making a movie is hard no matter what. So like even a bad day on set but it's still a day on set. You know, like a hard day on set is still a great day. I mean, it's hard to make a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like making any movie is hard, you know? And so picking I wouldn't say there was a bad day. And there's probably just we could honestly probably go on for like 2 hours just talking about all the good stuff and sharing all the good stories and all the fun stuff from the second we landed to the friggin' final steak dinner at the airport. You know what I mean? Like kind of thing, like all the way to the bitter end. So I don't know.
Fantastic. That's a great answer. That's really
good. There's so much good.
So do you want to talk maybe a bit about the peripheral casting choices like Leah Thompson?
Yeah,
there's so many great people in this film.
I wanted to add on the note of what the best or
please do, yeah.
To echo Ross, just the journey of it for like me and Ross was really long. So I think for me, like, and I'll include, because I did all of post-production too. So it was, you know, that it was a lot, you know, it was a big drain. And then you get, so for me, it was like really getting to Sundance, premiering the film, and being able to look over at Ross after we had this weird moment in the theater where like the light, the scene was bright enough. I can't remember what scene it was, but it was bright enough that it kind of illuminated the audience, and we're sitting in the ray, and, you know, Ross like turns and I turn, and he was like maybe like, you know, 10 people over or so down a row, and we just made eye contact in the theater and like had this like moment, and then he went back and I went back, and like somehow that was like
it was the moment when we realized that the audience was connecting with these 2 weirdos that we always loved, and it was really meaningful. That was really meaningful. Yeah.
It made everything, like it made that journey and the hard work that you put in, you know, to do it like super worth it, you know, like to get. It was a really rowdy screening. It was
incredible.
Bonkers.
When I watched The Link back in, I guess it was January, it was just around the time of the Sundance premiere. And I mean, I was saying to the people I watched it with, I can't wait to see this come to life with a fucking audience. This is going to be so great. And here we are. But, you know, potentially maybe a Fantasia screening in person in a couple of years.
Hey, man.
It's like being a modern.
Do an anniversary screening. Yeah,
live
man. I'll
performance of Watermelon.
Hell yeah.
Learning the bass, sort of.
By then, in a couple of years, I'll know enough guitar that we can do it. We can lay it down.
There you go, baby.
Like, I saw your video the other day, JP. You're a maniac. I love you.
Yeah, JP has an incredible Watermelon remix too.
Yes, he does. That's on. Yep, he does.
Pretty sweet.
But maybe that's secret.
At some point,
I'm not sure.
Stay tuned
I
for the
don't know.
soundtrack down the line, because JP is, if you might not know, he is a musician himself. So,
And actually, I wasn't aware of that. That's fantastic.
And like
you didn't know that
Really
I scored
good.
Turtle Kid and
Oh, wait,
Summer before.
of course you want. Yeah, dude. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ. It took me a minute. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Sorry.
JP's a renaissance man.
Disorienting right now. Sorry?
But yeah, we have a
JP's
remix
a
coming out.
renaissance man.
Well, look at that. Look at his mic setup. That should tell you everything you need to know. I mean,
pro. Guy's a pro.
He's an ASMR YouTuber over here.
Looking at it, if it's a jib, it always just seems like a fetishistic like camera.
Whoa. No.
This is a sex positive Zoom.
Okay, so on to casting. So yeah, Leah Thompson. You have so many great people in the film. Even Hannah Marks, why is she not a star, like a major star at this point? I'm really glad. I'm so happy to see her show up in the film. Pat Healy, I love. There's all these great casting choices.
Griffin really delivered his Kev. You know, I mean, he's such a Kev. He's such a Kev. You know, I mean, Hannah was great. Pat, I mean, we had such a great supporting cast too that we went out to people because of the trajectory of Simon, and it's you're never really in one place for very long. You have all these supporting players that are pretty important. Like, and we didn't ever treat anything like, we never treated a cast member like they're all important and they all move the story forward. So that was like something that we had to have good players for that, because it's critical to have, everybody just, there aren't very many weak links in the film. So that was really great.
I want to add something to this, which is that this movie was shot in Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we shot it in the middle of the fucking summer, and it was hot as hell. And I just want to give a shout out because so many of the great little one-off characters in this movie were Detroit locals.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they were like, yes, look, Pat and Mary Lynn and Griffith are like, that family is so perfect. And Leah is such a sport, and Hannah's amazing. But like, I just want to focus on the fact that so many, this movie as a producer, I think we had 50 plus speaking roles in it. And for a micro budget movie, that's like a fucking nightmare. And I want to give a shout out on our casting directors in LA was, Susan Paley Abramson and Justine Hempy, and they did great. And I love them, and they kicked ass. But we had a local casting director, Dana Polhanke, in Detroit, who is now a state senator in Michigan, where she ran on a platform of bringing back the tax credit to Michigan.
Oh, good.
And she helped us with getting a lot of the kind of one-off people into the movie. One of the two homophobic jocks, the pet store owner, the honey glaze kid at the burger place.
Honey glaze.
There's so many.
I laughed every time.
So many good little tiny bits and pieces here. Oh, fucking Lou at the diner.
Oh, he's amazing.
So
I'm gonna come with a scarecrow with you.
Big shout out to Dana Polhanke for coming through it, and also just a shout out to Detroit. There's so many talented people there. We were really happy to get them into the film.
Right on. And Detroit really needs the love right now in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place to shoot.
I love Detroit.
I recommend any filmmaker that wants to shoot there. It's so accessible for filmmakers, and they also just have. You saw the locations in this movie. It's amazing. We have such amazing locations with such a shoestring budget, and Detroit was just so open and friendly to that. So it's a great place.
Yeah, people in Detroit are really.
Do you remember when we scouted in the original Scout? So this is a weird little anecdote, but the house that Patty lives in was the house that I scouted years ago with Ross and Dave, and I was like, I want something like this. Find a house like this. And I think Dave had gone and done this thing where he kind of puts flyers in the mailbox, and he had put one in there, and I was like, can you try? Can you see? And eventually he made contact with the lady, and she worked at a local news station. And so she was kind of like, she was aware of cameras and kind of through stuff.
That means that she would say, no, I don't want a production in my house.
Right.
She's aware of cameras and knows what all the gear is.
Right.
So, Kat, fantastic. Sorry. What was really hard to find? What was super hard to find was the way that I had it written when Simon was being chased by the cops and it went into the back alley thing because it's kind of like you follow one storyline, you follow the other storyline, and you snap them together. Finding that alley where that was really going to play, because they didn't have the alleys like with the ladders and shit. Ross and Dave and I drove around looking, and we couldn't find anything that had what the script had. So we found that area up in Pontiac, and it was insane. That it had all the elements, and the main important thing for me was that there would be we would frame it in a way where we would see Patty, we'd know this space, but then we'd flip it and have, at one point we'd have her justified here and have him going up here. It was so important to have that and to find an organic way that we could have it that fit. It just brings the two of them together in such a cool way, when they initially meet. So
that was so critical. How I had it scripted, it probably never would have worked. I mean, it just would have worked in like, shots, but being able to actually see Simon going up the stairs, like in the background, and then doing those really quick, push-ins that JP did, the zooms, like that was so cool that we could actually have a workable space where that could happen.
It was almost shot like a play. It was interesting. And that was also one of our first days, right, of shooting?
First day one.
It was day one. Yeah, we shot a lot of the movie kind of chronologically, which was amazing. And I think the rehearsal aspect also really, it really felt like we were building a play in movie form.
I mean, to hear that from you specifically with your theater background is interesting. That's great.
Yeah, I love it. I love being able to collaborate and really get to know people and like really dive deep. And so I if I had my way, I'd rehearse everything.
Cool. So we should open up to questions from the audience,
Sure.
Which should be interesting. This is going to be my first time doing that.
Do it.
So, okay. If you have,
there was a dude named Simon in here.
I'm sorry, what?
There was a dude named Simon watching the movie.
Simon.
He left.
Exactly, JP. Simon.
Okay.
Simon.
Hang on. So what do we have here? I have to thank all the staff. Amazing. We have to give my, okay. It's a paragraph, but it's worth it. It's really good. So I have to thank, this is from Jean-Charles Mirand. I have to thank all the staff. Amazing, all caps. But I have to give my biggest props at Emily. I'm jaw-dropped about such performance to be in that persona. My question for Emily is, how do you get in that zone and such character? Because we don't know what's her diagnostic.
That's really interesting. And actually, yeah, and Adam, you can pop in on this with me too, of course. But I feel like the biggest thing for us was that Patty's misdiagnosed. She's over-medicated. We don't know what she has, what she is. She doesn't even know who she is. And I think the most important thing for me as an actor was we don't get to know people's diagnoses in real life. We don't get to meet people and know exactly what their past history is, their trauma, their mental illness, what medications they are. And even if we did, it would reduce that person to something that is smaller than who they are. And so it was important that wasn't an aspect of the movie, because that's not what we need to see the value in Patty. That's not where we need to see her value. Does that make sense?
And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for Patty to with somebody telling her what she is and telling her what to do constantly. There's no breathing room in there. Like you see her dinner, like that first dinner, she's just trying to ask a question. It's like, well, not that tonight. What's going on here? You want to do a sleepover? No, you're not going to go see a rock show. You're going to have a sleepover. She's like, I'm 20 years old. So it's like a delayed coming of age movie. It's like a 20-year-old kind of coming of age movie. So.
Well, I mean, the body language that you use for a lot of the film is very childlike, particularly the first act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost as a question without it being a question. But sorry.
Yeah. I know. No.
Dead air. I apologize.
You were right. You know what I mean?
It's true. You're right. I think that part of that is that Patty, she's so open. She's so childlike. She is naive in a lot of ways. And that's what makes her so in tune with the world, and she's so present and so overly aware, and that's what people don't understand. What they see is someone who's confused or naive or doesn't understand social norms.
Yeah.
Again, we want to show that. We show that growth in the film itself in that small time period. It was like Simon was the catalyst for a lot of things in this little family, to trigger things for the family to do something, to break just the stasis that they were in. And Patty, even her lyrics that she sent Simon, they're very baby girl. We went in what Emily wrote versus when we kind of got to those the dum dum and the tongue, we did these kind of doubled down on them and made them kind of baby girl kind of thing, in your eardrum, dum dum, so there was that aspect of it too that's very naive and innocent still, but as she progresses through the film, she just comes out of that shell, just gets out of that, and it's being allowed to be out of the shell. Finally, there's somebody that's letting her alone for just a few minutes just to breathe, man. It's like a suffocating existence for her between cleaning shit at the pet store and the shit she has to take from her parents, the dead cat in the backyard. And look, she's not really great at basketball. She's never really going to be a basketball player.
One of my favorite things in the whole movie.
That's like what it's interesting because that's what I'm trying to find as a writer and as an artist. I'm trying to get back to that point in my life when I felt so free to write those words and to be that pure and innocent. And so that was so exciting, you know? That's like Patty is what we all want to be, actually, when you think about it.
In terms of like just honest purity.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
just like feeling, like I think she feels a lot. Like I think she feels people's pain and she feels people's awkwardness, and that's paralyzing for her, you know. And in a lot of ways, I feel that too. I see the world in that way. So I don't know. I just hope that it gets people to sort of think twice about, you know.
The glasses. She's like a tuning fork. She's like a tuning fork for energy fields just coming in, you know.
The glasses are a tuning fork. I love that.
She's like a tuning fork.
I just, you know, I hope it gets people to like think twice about judging people and really get to know people and for who they are. That's it.
I think it's a good. I think there's a really great message in this film. I think it's not a, you know, it's you had a great synopsis on there, Mitch. I think it was like an anti-romance love story or something like that.
But that's genuinely romantic at the same time. And it's truly empathetic in a way that's very surprising, given where it begins.
But it sort of plays grindhouse adjacent, which is like, you know, for like us genre guys, it's really fun. It's like a romantic comedy that I would actually want to go watch, you know? So
and it goes for both Patty and Simon. Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure that that's clear too. Like Simon also has a journey of finding love and like acceptance that's equally important to Patty's, I think.
Absolutely. Okay,
I agree.
I'm not. So sorry, it's so weird to ask an audience I'm not seeing for questions. I guess I should be looking into the camera saying any more questions from the audience. Just type them in. I know it's very inorganic.
We're just rolling with this.
We can just. I mean, I'm happy to riff.
Yeah, we can.
If the audience is waiting to ask, if it feels shut out because we're not in a room where they can be like, "Hey," you know, or any of that. I don't know. People get up.
Here we go.
Questions at once. Okay. Funniest super moment.
Oh God.
I guess funniest fuck up. What's your funniest fuck up? Everyone.
JP, what do we got, baby? Don't say waiting 7 hours to get the car shit to work. Don't say that. I got one. It's not an on-camera one, but so our one of our office PA, we let him out.
Oh, Christ.
PA, he got let out for the day and he came and joined us at a really shit moment. And I was like, hey, Ryan. He was like way across his parking lot. The car
find the pictures. Find the picture on your phone.
I will while we're talking. So the
we're in a church parking lot.
We're in a church parking lot. We're not supposed to be there. The car fucking dies in the church parking lot. Ryan's like 100 yards away, and I'm like, I see this fucking weird bottle like next to this like lamppost. I'm like, hey Ryan, is that a giant jar of piss? and it's like it's so fucking gross, and it's like orange, and I can see it all.
It was.
It was
like,
a jar.
Ryan, is that a jar of piss? And he thinks I'm saying grab that jar and bring it to him. And he carries it all the way over. And I'm like, and the top was open.
Sprinting across the parking lot.
Running with it. And there's shit going all over him. And I'm like, Ryan, is that a jar? No, I'm asking you, is that a jar of piss? And he's like, I'm bringing it. And I'm like, no, don't bring it over here. Is that a jar of piss? He's like, piss? It's like all over his arm.
No!
I don't think this is piss. I'm like, dude, that is definitely piss. Somebody just pissed in that, wide mouth Gatorade bottle and set it down on that thing. That's what it is. Piss.
One does.
I don't think so. And I've got this great picture that I'm going to hold up in a second of Ryan holding the piss. So,
and Adam said, no, don't put it down. Wait a minute. And he take his phone and he take a picture.
Yeah, we have to commemorate something like that. Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Anybody else?
God.
Bloopers.
Both questions now, so we're
funniest blooper.
I love bloopers.
There's a line delivery Skeggs gave in a rehearsal that I wish the entire world could see when it's so simple and probably no one else is gonna care, but it's the real magic line when I'm like, what if I told you I could, make that money double or whatever? And she's like, how? And I say magic. And the way, because I think I wasn't really paying, I think I was distracted, and
I'm mad.
This is just for me now, like talking about this. The way you just said, like, real magic, I can't even.
That's
the way
right,
she did it, dude. The piss is unbelievable. That's insane.
Hey, is that a big jar of piss?
Is that a giant jar of piss?
I don't think this is piss. No, I'm telling you, it's a big jar of piss. Put it down.
Oh my God, dude. He hustled across that parking lot, too.
Ryan was such a trooper. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, continue.
No, that was just for me. It was just such an intimate, just me and Skeggs, and I don't know. I'm talking out loud now, just to talk. I'm like reminiscing right now.
How about the rig we had on you? That wasn't really a blooper, though.
Oh, that was just miserable.
Dancing is a fucking blooper, buddy.
Holy Lord, that was something else. I don't know. There wasn't too much.
You have one?
No, I don't have a blooper. Honestly, there weren't really bloopers, but I can answer. I want to answer another one of these questions, just because I feel like it'll be appealing for the crowd here.
JP's got a blooper. You got a blooper.
Oh, go.
Say something before
that what's the name of your buddy who's playing Simon's cellmate? He did a lot. He did a lot of stuff.
Greg Gilmore.
I mean, I feel if you need like a blooper reel, that guy will be all over it.
I don't know if that's a blooper reel as much as like some kind of short film of its own. Like
there was like the energy when Greg started beating off in the bed, like.
Holy Lord.
It was intense.
I didn't know. And I had no idea until the day it premiered. And I was like, that's what was happening underneath me? Holy shit. Yeah, the vein popping, the whole thing. Oh my God, dude. I felt violated. Like in that moment, I was like, what? Like, yeah, it
went on. It went on, and like his face went like red and released, and I was like, "Ooh,
it was so
what
long.
happened?
Like,
How long it takes?
What are they doing down there?"
Greg's a champion. He's very convincing in the end of that. Awesome. So I'm very happy he came in.
Man.
Mitch, he's the guy that takes away, our bunny at the end of the bunny game. He's the white clad gentleman and our human trafficker guy. So I've known Greg for 20
I want
years.
to answer this cat question.
Yeah.
So the cat was a prop that our production designer rented. So it's not that special. However, although it looks great. However, the original plan was, some of your viewers might be familiar with the filmmaker Fred Vogel, who did the August Underground trilogy.
Absolutely.
Adam and I are friends with Fred, and Fred was all lined up to make us a top flight fucking disgusting dead decaying cat, because he is an excellent makeup artist and creature effects guy who learned in Pittsburgh under the guy who fucking did of course Savini. So Fred was like ready to go, and then when our financing fell apart, we couldn't fucking afford it anymore. I feel so bad. So the cat looks great in the movie, but we would have had the world's greatest decaying cat.
It was supposed to be the world's sickest, grossest cat. But what Ross didn't know was my sub conversation with Fred. I had spoken with Fred. I had given him. Gross. I know. I gave him pictures of Ross's cat Charlotte as the model. I wanted. On the day, I wanted
not offended.
As a cat owner, I can totally sympathize. That must have been weird for you.
I know.
I have 2 cats. Weird. Fred Vogel has like 4 cats. He loves cats.
Cat guy too.
So this was gonna be just a fun thing to do, and unfortunately we couldn't do it. But Fred is a G, and we appreciate that he was gonna do it for us. So it's a shame, but it's awesome. But he's still awesome. So.
Oh,
Henry, wait! You were starting to say something before about the blooper thing. I think.
I have no memory.
There's a great
but thank you
from Michelle Swope. There's a great question from Michelle Swope.
That's what I was going to say.
What is the story behind the Eagle Scout patch?
I love that she saw that and she caught that. That's awesome, because not a lot of people catch that. And here's the really awesome part is that that was totally approved by the BSA. Francesca got that approved. So that, like, I don't know what she had to do to get that approval, but they approved it. So I am a former Eagle Scout. I was the Eagle Scout. So I thought it was just an interesting. She had some options for the what he would have on the jacket, so it wasn't plain.
Yeah.
And I think I don't remember how it happened exactly. I think she had like some type of BSA thing. And I think I mentioned the Eagle Scout thing, and she showed me a couple options, and it was like, yes, we should do that, because he should be, the converted Boy Scout. He was a boy, now he's this, and so there was that element to wearing that too, that was like kind of trippy and weird. So
yeah,
but she had to ask the Boy Scouts.
What?
Yeah. Oh, she had to get permission. You have to have permission.
Cleared.
Oh, I'm sure you can't just use something like that. Yeah.
And not only that, I think she had to get it cleared because didn't she have to have it sent to her?
Yeah,
I think you have to like buy one.
It was something crazy. So like the knots.
She got the one she wanted. She got the one she wanted, but I think she got the one
the knots that she had to tie her. She told me the next day, she's like, "You can't believe the conversation I had to have to try to convince these people. Like how do you spin this film to make it sound appealing to the Boy Scouts of America to let you use an Eagle Scout patch?" She was like, I can't, she came in the next day. It was like, I can't believe I got that to work.
Ross,
I would have loved to have been on the phone call and heard what she said.
First girl flashbacks to the Catholic church shit.
Yeah. Really quick. I mean, look, lie, cheat, and steal is how you make independent film. But I produced a movie called First Girl I Loved, lesbian high school drama at Sundance 2016. And we shot 9 days at a Catholic school and had to write a whole other script that was called My Friend Cliff. That was about a girl who wants to enter into a bicycle race. And that's what they let us shoot. And then we just made our lesbian movie at the Catholic school.
Like breaking away, but with girls,
That's amazing.
Breaking away. He was as normal as pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
A question from Alicia. Would they really find Simon's hair weird over there? I found it totally normal and awesome.
Yeah, not everybody. There's definitely, more acceptance to things like that now. But like you do, I mean, you walk into certain places, you can tell some people can be pretty conservative or weirded out about the fact that Simon is a Mohawk. I don't find it weird, but some people do,
There's a good question here.
Been revealed that there are parts of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
What were you going to say, Skeggs?
Sorry.
I was going to say something very cynical about America. So go ahead, Adam.
Do it. No, I like your cynical America.
I mean, a lot of the film is about that, or at least about suburban decay and hypocrisy.
Sure.
Well, then here we go. I think this year has proven that there is a lot about America that we don't think still exists. And I think there's a lot of judgment out there. And I think both Patty and Simon are definitely the kinds of people that would face that judgment. And I think the fact 100%. That Simon ends up incarcerated instead of in some sort of program or like finding help or in therapy is a good cue into that as well. Like we have a problem here and that's part of it.
Yeah, and I think these guys are probably kind of in tune to that too. I mean, I think it's you're kind of rebelling against the status quo. I mean, I think Simon having his haircut like that and sort of being the way he is he's pretty aware of what's going on, and it is sort of like this big fuck you to everything that's going on around him for sure. I mean,
it would give context to the urges to set fires and all of that.
What?
It would give context to the character's urge to set fires as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's still in the script? Is it not? I mean, it was originally like an animal testing facility that Simon burnt down.
That was true. Yeah, it's out. It's out now. It's out.
Yeah, but I mean, that was originally what it was.
Though, to the pet store thing.
Right, but that's
there would have been a really nice.
But that's kind of the thing with like Simon, where it's like Simon is this aggro aggressive, like he pushes the boundaries. He uses language that he's aware of the language he's using. I think that's the difference between like Simon and the jocks. Like the jocks know these words hurt. Simon specifically says things to like push buttons, but at the same time, like I wouldn't be shocked if Simon made out with one of his like dude friends at a punk show, smashed a beer over his head and then fucking did whatever, or like stood up for somebody on the bus. Like if someone was like, making fun of somebody, Simon would be the kind of guy to step in. You know,
Right,
he sets his own rules for sure. And, you know, no one's saying Simon is like a shiny penny, you know, and I don't think what I love about the movie is we don't pretend that that's what that is.
Yeah.
You know, you come into Simon's life when he's at a point in his journey where Simon's going to get in trouble. You know, he's pushed it to the point, and it's kind of like a handing off of the torch sort of thing where you meet these two in the middle, you know, and you watch this journey for them together, you know, where they equally grow. And Simon grows and changes because of Patty, you know, as much as Patty probably changes because of Simon. I mean, they really, really help each other along the way. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I definitely think what Emily said is spot on. I mean, it's like, you know, kitchen table racism and things like that,
it's
that like
puritanical.
happen. Yeah. I mean, it's all these things are still happening. So, you know, while there are people that would be fine with things like the haircuts or somebody like Patty, you have tons of people that would judge the shit out of them.
Yeah. And just reactionaries.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Good
So,
question.
you have an editing question. What was your inspiration for the way the movie was edited? Most of the scene where they're prepping the revenge with the cat and back.
Yeah, and that's a JP joint question there, because we, you know, because we had so we had 2 weeks of prep for me and Emily and Kyle to get to know each other and to like kind of, you know, just figure out what our rhythm was going to be. JP and I had a much longer period of time working in the office together. Like I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks that we had. And
5, yeah.
You know, one thing that we just, what we wanted to do was just shot for shot this movie, what we were going to do. And that's what we invested all of our time. We didn't have time and the resources because of when crew was coming in to do the kinds of camera tests that you might do with this. We were pretty confident that we could just go and do it. But that we wanted to have like such a solid plan when we were in because then we could just drop what we needed to drop, and I could kind of pre-edit in my head as I was going, because I have a lot of experience editing as well. So that scene that the anonymous attendee is speaking about with the cat, the revenge sequence, that was literally just like most of the movie was just shot for shot, but that one in particular, you know, we were trying to have that, like, JP can talk about it too, but like just have that kinetic motion from, you know, like we're turning here, going here. And JP had some great stuff with the doors that I love. So JP, if you want to talk about that sequence.
I mean, you said it well. It's just we kind of did the editing in prep on paper. That's exactly what we did. And I always love to, and it happens a couple of times for me, but to work with a director that also edit, feels like it's easier to really decide before and create some rules. And the reason we use that kind of camera work, kind of movement, NL versus static shot. But I feel like that scene it's such like just for comedy, I feel like it was super important to be so like, and we talked about a lot of the rhythm of the movie, the way everything moves with the music, even if we didn't know what the score was about, but we talked a lot about music and rhythm and the pace of the way Adam wants to edit, so that way we shot it in a certain way. And that scene was kind of a climax in music, just on paper, the way we just decided to do it.
Not only did we do that for this film, but we boxed ourselves hardcore into corners. Like we just boxed ourselves in and just lived and died by those.
You had basically, so you had to edit the way.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was a lot of times we didn't give ourselves any other thing because you're trying to make your day and you're going to move. You know, you're just going like, I know on the editorial side what I can get away with and what I can't. Like I know when
the dinner scenes were. All the dinner scene was we decided to go that way, and it was like those shots and that's it. We didn't do much in terms of masters and stuff because we really wanted to. We decided the way the edit would be. Adam would edit it, so we just like shot that and that's it.
You're married to that at that point. There is no like dirty shot over somebody's shoulder. There is no like 3 shot. There is no this or that. It's like we are doing like the equivalent of kind of like that 70s show did with the spinning camera thing, but we're just doing it and everybody's right here centered in that scope, and it's just you're just cutting faces, and you build the rhythm for, like, because those lines are so stepped on in the dinner, it's just like, hey, can I do this? Boom. No, you're not gonna. It's just like what they're just. It's like an attack. So, you know, just being able to like just punch from those, like, one in the dinners, it was so important. And then we did Simon's dinner like totally different. We did all of that dirty and handheld, and like it's much more like intimate, and you get because it's only scene you get of the whole film that you really see what his home life was like. So it was done in a different way, where I feel like Patty's House, it was very comical, and the framing was kind of comical that way, but it was more just about the timing of it. And then of course the unknown element, like JP and I had talked about those rhythmical elements. I was thinking like organic drums for this the whole time, like in a very abstract way, like Me, Myself, and Irene, like when Jim Carrey flips out each time he like switches, and like the big drums come in, bop, boom, 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 bop, shit, you know, comes in. And I had been talking with John Swihart about organic drums, like acoustic drums, and doing like kind of these like freeform, kind of more like just kind of, you know, like more like kind of like a military kind of thing for Simon. So when he's like marching across, it's like these kind of rhythmical military kind of like beats. And he kind of persuaded me at some point to think about more of like an EDM style, like these big, like distorted drums and like a more lo-fi thing. And I thought that when he started like explaining that to me, what his idea was for it, I thought it worked so well, because it was like, it brought in a really nice counterpoint to like the punk thing, to have kind of this whole other like, you know, like this electronic element to it that I don't know, it just tied it together in a way and made it its own thing. I think the other way would have been more predictable, and John's like ideas made it really like just fresh for me, like especially after the 6 years Ross and I spent thinking about how we were going to make this movie.
It's really, really alive. So question about the release plan.
Hi, it's Ross here. Well, we premiered this movie and then the world went to shit. I'm not going to take credit for it. But this movie certainly probably caused the pandemic. Yeah. No, look, this is a movie that we feel like deserves to be seen with an audience. I know that a lot of movies say that, but and a lot of filmmakers feel that way. But having seen this play, you know, at festivals like Sundance, and then play at some virtual festivals where people really get into it, we're really strong believers that this is a film that will survive on word of mouth and on the experience of actually watching it, whether that's, we did a drive-in screening in New Jersey. So I think our release plan is still coming together. I think just keep track, but we want to make sure it has some element of that in-person experience when it's safe. So we're
basically
not
mid-2021, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, as much as that seems
festivals and whatnot, but I mean, you don't have to rush it out. It's not going to be dated.
Here's the thing that we've always talked about that you're so right about, Mitch, which is that this film is not set. Feels like the 90s, but it's not set in any specific time. They don't use they sort of don't use cell phones, but there are like the internet exists, but like this world is like not really specific. So it doesn't, there's nothing in here that next year will feel any different from the year after, No,
and audiences, this should be a shared experience. This really should be a shared experience.
So we've always talked about it. One of the most mainstream touchstones of this film we always talked about is Napoleon Dynamite. So, you know, except obviously that's made by that's made by Mormons, and this is not made by Mormons.
Eagle Scout vibe, guys.
That's a good descriptor, General. That's made by Mormons. This is not.
This is not quite made by
all over the place.
So I think in the way that movie feels timeless, we feel like this does too. So that's my long-winded way of saying things are percolating. Stay tuned. You know, you'll see about it in the news. You'll definitely get ads for it when it's ready. But it's definitely going to be something where we want to make sure we can have that theatrical. So coming soon, hopefully.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think on that note, we have to wrap things up. Are there any other questions? Does anyone else want to send anything in before we close?
Oh, I thought of a blooper.
What? Who thought of a blooper?
Remember when we were supposed to throw the chair through the plate glass window and then it just bounced back? That was pretty good.
Oh my God. So you remember when Kyle absolutely ruins dinner for the racist family? We had one shot at doing that. We had replaced that whole window with a breakaway window.
Oh my God.
And
it was so tense.
So when Kyle did that scene, we were like all holding our breath, and he rears back, and I'm watching in camera. Kyle, I'm saying because you were in it. This is me watching it, literally. I'm at Video Village. Adam's on set. We're like, holy shit, it's got to look great. And he tosses it, and it just goes clink, hits the window, and falls to the ground.
The noise, it just went bing, and I was I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like,
it didn't break.
My jaw was on the floor. I threw that thing so hard.
Yep. So in order to get it to break, our production designer got her hammer out and just gently hammered the edges of the glass to weaken it.
She put a nail. She put a nail in the chair leg.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So then when Kyle threw it the next time,
that's just dangerous though. If that would have snapped back, I mean,
it did.
We had with the nail, it snapped back with the nail.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you would have hit with a nail,
we had our stunt coordinator on set.
Rock and roll, man.
We had
the danger back to the film set.
We had our stunt coordinator on set and all the safety measures being followed, and then Kyle rocked out.
Yeah.
You really covered that, Ross.
Yeah. That needed like a sudden jar of piss as well.
In case anybody comes for your ass.
Give me some of that COVID piss. Come on.
Ryan was an intern.
Like holding the Ark of the Covenant.
He's not covered. No.
And this is a really tacky question in general, but it really does apply here. Like we were saying, we were discussing before the Q&A. I mean, I really would love to see more of these characters. I think anybody who sees the film feels like a real pang of sadness when it's over, because you just want to see more of where these people go, either together or apart. It almost doesn't matter, but it's their journeys. And I know you guys all love working together. Is there a possibility of some kind of a sequel or follow-up?
I wouldn't rule it out. I'd love to, like, for like, part of me would love to see this down the road, but like I've actually thought about like episodic for it. I was like, wow, this could be a jumping off point, or there could be more forward or backwards. There could be all sorts of things. Everybody asks that question at the Q&A always. Like, always one person is like, is there more? I feel like I just want to see more of these characters. And like, honestly, I loved writing Dinner in America was the most pain-free experience I've ever had with writing. I go through a lot of pain when I write, a lot of pain. And this was like a painless one. It was like, Ross knows the pain I go through with writing. It's never easy, and you don't want it to be easy. But, this just felt like it was so freeing. Like, I didn't outline, I didn't do any of that stuff. It was more free form and loose, and like I had ideas of what I wanted to do. But I love these characters too. And like Kyle and Emily, they are the characters. They made those characters their own thing. They did it like, so I can't see it another way. So I would love to see more Patty and Simon. 100%.
What's the title, Adam? What's the title?
Breakfast in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Dinner in America. Breakfast in
What
Canada.
gave you the biggest hang up? Wasn't it finding the name for Chombi? Didn't that give you
God.
Chombi?
Yeah, because when I wrote this, I didn't jump scenes. I didn't do anything. I just wrote it linearly, like, it's in the film. But when I got to the part with the bear, and they win this bear, I mean, you could do anything, but it was like 6 or 7 days of like not writing another word, just staring at the screen. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Chombi, and I was like, yeah, it's Chombi.
You had a Patty moment.
He's downstairs. Chombi lives down in the basement.
Chombi does live
down
in the
with the
basement.
16mm stuff. He guards the 16 stuff. Chombi's got a steady diet of combat shock and Lone Wolf McQuaid, so he's okay. He's doing okay.
We have Buddy. Actually, we're showing No Way Home in about a week.
I love Buddy.
I'm the biggest Buddy Giovanasso fan. So you are as well. We've spoken about this.
Hey, we're the North American guys with the Prince. You and I are the holders. We're the holders.
Right. For American Nightmares. I mean, nobody has a No Way Home print, but yeah, we both got American Nightmares prints.
We both have American Nightmares, and I actually just watched it again last week. That is the only film that I pull every element out of the projector. I get out my alcohol.
Clean the gate, man. For that, that's an answer print.
100%, dude. Yeah, it's one of three. It's one of three. I have one. You have one, and Buddy has one. So it's one of three. You get out the alcohol. You do the whole thing. And I don't know about yours, but the one that I'm holding here is absolutely flawless. It's gorgeous. LPP.
Even the reel changes are clean. It's crazy because it was barely projected back in the day. Criminal. Oh yeah. So for everyone, sorry, we both collect prints. We're both print collecting nerds, as well as punk and metal nerds and film nerds, of course. But
Charlie's downstairs. He lives with the kids and everything downstairs. Like, so, well, I don't have kids in my basement. I have kids because I'm a parent. Like, I'm not living with trapped kids in a basement.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
It's the rumpus room.
Yeah.
The rumpus room.
Rumpus room. Fantastic. All right. Well, I guess on that note, I really don't want to end this Q&A, but I mean, it's been on for a bit, so I guess we probably should. But congratulations, everyone. I fucking love Dinner in America. You all have to work together on 20 million other projects, and I will program all of them.
Breakfast and
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And best of luck with everything on this movie.
Let's go.
It's really a special film.
Thanks,
Mitch.
Thanks for having us. And I just want to say it's such an honor to be a part of your festival. I know it's a weird year. We're doing it weird, but it's just such an honor. I'm such a big fan of Fantasia. So thank you so much for having us. It means the world for
it's
me
our
to be.
pleasure. I mean, really, it is. But yeah, we'll do something in person. We'll do a screening in person somehow.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Like a little, like even if it's a weird
pop
thing
those
in a
seats
bar
in,
somewhere,
and then-
you know, we throw it on, like everybody's you know.
You got a DVD, you put it in the player at the bar.
Oh, well, okay. One last question. For an eventual Blu-ray special edition or some kind of commemorative thing for the film, is there a chance of seeing those poetry notes, Emily?
Ooh.
It feels like is that such a formative part of finding from what you were saying? I was on the verge of asking that all through this Q&A, and I was like, is that going to be too pushy? Is that going to be? But yeah, honestly, I think it would be so illuminating to people who love the film. I would love to see all of that.
You could scroll through them and just like they could just be copied, and you could just scroll through them to see them. That would be really.
Oh yeah, they can be still galleries, the way we see on so many Blu-rays in the special edition sections.
Absolutely. Or we can do the song and then highlight them as it's playing. You know.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. It was actually an animated thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's so much about this movie that was so much fun making that we loved so much. Remember when Lucy and I made stickers? Mm-hmm. We made cat fucker stickers.
I have a cat fucker.
We made 69 Your Mom little license plates. Like I would love to. There's so, and then I made a little zine for Adam and Kyle. Like there's so much that I would love to attach to this movie because I just feel like we made so much that didn't end up on the screen. Like it's very really special.
Well, we could release an album, like sound like a record for this thing. Like we could
release like a short story about the dog Kyle found.
Oh yeah, I can make a children's book about the dog I found, the dog I rescued. It'll be called Pumpkin's Day Out. It's me and Skeggs taking care of Pumpkin.
Okay,
there's a lot.
I guess on that note, it has to be a tragic goodbye. Tragic but temporary goodbye. But thank you, everyone. It's just a beautiful, beautiful film. I love it so much.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Mitch.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone.